This is the EVP Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the EVP Podcast. I am your host, Beaker.
And I am your host, Ghosty.
So we're going to thank the guests from our last two shows, because I don't think we thanked the Finlays last episode.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks, Finlays. Thanks for Grim Ghost Tours for joining us.
Yeah, and thanks for letting us join you guys along on our journey to, where were we again? The Watchtower Club.
The Watchtower Club. Did you go to Fear Factory?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. I was going to call you and like, hey, we should go, but we didn't go. So, yeah, that didn't happen. But we should go sometime.
Yeah, I think probably in the next weekend or so. Maybe. Yeah, in a couple weekends or so.
Well, in a couple weekends, you'll be in San Diego.
Yeah, and then maybe in a couple weekends after that. Then because the weekend after that...
Well, you're in San Diego. I'll be doing the potluck, which no one's emailed me on, so I'm assuming no one wants to come with us, which is fine.
And then I'll be joining the Dr. Ghost Hunters in Park City.
Yes. I wish I could go to that one, but I am out of vacation time, and I can't get the day off, so...
Sounds like you need to start a barbecue business of your own.
It sounds like I do. It's also Father's Day weekend, so people already had the time off. So there's a lot going on that weekend, but unfortunately, I can't do any of it.
Nope, half your weekends are gone. Bud.
Yep, I know. I really love this. I went from being off every weekend to every other weekend, and it's so great. I don't know if we're gonna do any investigation anytime soon, other than the joint investigation with Dr. Ghost Hunters that you mentioned. Where are they going again?
It's some
secret location,
some secret mines or underground.
It's a hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, something.
So look forward to that. We'll have an episode. Maybe we can have Dr. Ghost Hunter come on.
Yeah, I think we should.
Episode after you guys do that ghost hunt, and you guys can talk about what you experienced there.
I think that should be in the works then.
So Dr. Chad, if you're listening, we've just voluntold you to come be a guest on the show again.
You heard it first.
You heard it first here on EVP Podcast. Just like Terry did when we told her she's going to be a guest. We didn't call her or text her. She found out from listening to the show. So that's just how we roll. We're going to voluntold people to come be on the show. So we have talked about this quaint little town in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, called Tonapah in the past.
Yep.
Tonapah is, which I have found out recently, I'm more likely to go to Tonapah again. Not again, but I'm more likely to go to Tonapah before I go to Reno again, because Tonapah is a lot closer than Reno from Salt Lake City. I looked it up. It's only about 6.5 hour drive from here, where Reno is like, what, 8 hours?
Yeah, 8 hours. 8 hours.
But much like Virginia City, Tonapah was a mining town. Tonapah was actually the second largest mining town in Nevada after Virginia City.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. It sounded like it was booming.
It was booming. It was booming so much that there was these dudes.
Yeah. They were probably rich dudes.
They were very rich dudes. So first off, we're going to talk about this wonderful little hotel called the Mizpah Hotel.
Mizpah Hotel.
Mizpah.
Do you know why it's named that?
Well, it's named after the Mizpah mine.
Do you know why it was called the Mizpah?
No idea.
Well, anyways, they named it this because it's a biblical term meaning the Watchtower.
Oh, okay.
So, because it was the tallest building there for what?
Well, I mean, it was named Mizpah before it was the tallest building.
Watchtower. Yeah, it means watchtower.
Watchtower. So Mizpah mine was what originally kind of started this whole thing. Before the hotel where it stands now was built, it was actually like a 1-story like saloon and grill. So during this time, this is about 1907, 1900s. I actually read this really interesting thing about how Tonapah came to be.
Okay.
So I think we might have mentioned this on the Clown Hotel episode. I'm not sure, but we're going to talk about it again.
Might as well.
In 1900, there was a dude whose donkey fucking wandered off, right?
I remember this.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So the donkey wanders off, and he like finds the donkey the next day and gets all mad at the donkey. So he picks up this rock to throw at him. And it turns out that this rock is actually a huge lump of silver.
Silver ore, yeah.
Right. So this is what started the silver boom in Tonopah.
Yeah, because he's pissed off at his ass.
He's mad at his ass. So
I remember this.
So this is how Tonopah comes to be. So we got the silver boom here from 1900 and 1907 is like when all of this started taking shape.
Yeah.
So you have these four dudes. You had a U.S. senator there in Nevada named George Nixon, and then there was three businessmen: George Wingfield, Cal Broger, and Bob Govan. They were there they were all, like you said, rich dudes. Like, think of like the Silver Kings in Virginia City.
Yep.
These were the guys, right? They owned a lot of the mines there, the mining companies, the banks there in Tonopah. So they were like, working together.
They're the new Silver Kings.
They are the Silver Kings, more or less, of Tonopah, but they didn't go by the Silver Kings. And they didn't have
because that name was already taken.
Yeah. And they didn't have a millionaires club because they were from Virginia City. But they got together and they had kind of envisioned having this high-class hotel furnished with an eating and drinking establishment to conduct all their business. So there was already this 3-story bank there that I think one of them owned. And then right next door,
a 3-story bank.
Yeah.
Back in the 1900s. What the hell are you doing with a 3-story bank?
It was like a bank / like hotel, I believe.
Damn.
But it was a little 3-story. So you had your main floor and then 2 floors above it. So, and then right next door was the Mizpah Bar and Saloon.
Okay.
Right. So they, like I said, they decided they wanted to have this high-end hotel in their little town. So they built this 5-story hotel where the saloon was. And at the time, it cost about $200,000 to build, which I went on the inflation calculator website thing, and it told me that $200,000 in 1907 is approximately $6.6 million today. Is how much they spent building this 5-story hotel.
Okay, I could see that.
So construction began 1907, and it ended, and they celebrated its grand opening November 17th of 1908. And when it was built with solid granite walls, leaded glass windows, and a Victorian-era luxury appointments. It featured solid oak furniture. They had hot and cold running water.
That was new back then.
They had steam heat, and they had brass chandeliers, as well as a stained glass window and an electric elevator, which was the first west of the Mississippi.
Yep. They were the first.
They were the first.
There was like 2 or 3 other elevators in Nevada at the time. But they were the first electric.
First electric. And like we've mentioned a bunch, this is 5 stories tall. And at the time, this was the tallest building in Nevada. And I think it held that record up until like 1927.
Right. There wasn't much need for elevators back then.
No. So, like I mentioned, this was the second largest like mining town in Nevada after Virginia City.
Yeah.
And looking at some of the pictures and maps of Tonopah, it looks like don't get me wrong, like Virginia City was cool and all, but I feel like I would much rather stay in Tonopah.
It looks bigger, huh?
It looks way bigger.
And I was surprised because when I heard about this place and seen it somewhat, I didn't really see it, but I just seen small, pictures here and there. It's always of like the Clown Motel and just like a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, the Clown Motel looks like it's off in the middle of nowhere next to the cemetery.
A whole lot of nothing out there. And then you see pictures of the Mizpah and it's like kind of like an Elko. Look like Elko.
So I think the population currently is like 2,000 people.
Okay.
Where Virginia City, I guarantee there's not 2,000 people in Virginia City. I know it's right next to Reno, so I'm sure everyone that
maybe like 200.
There are some people that live there, right? There were some people that lived there. There was like houses right next to the Washoe and all that. But yeah, 2,000 people in Tonopah. And the Mizpah, looking at it from outside, it doesn't look like much, but seeing pictures of it currently on the inside, it looks awesome.
Looks old as shit.
It is old as shit. Well, 1907, 1908.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like walking inside like the carpets.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been remodeling since the owners that currently own it took over. But so this Mizpah Hotel became the gathering place for the mining and political elite of Nevada, such as prominent people that like Tasker Odie, who ended up becoming the governor of Nevada, and later a U.S. Senator Kelly Pittman also stayed there at one point in time. Nevada's beloved politician, Key Pittman. I might have said Kelly. It's Key. Not Kelly Pittman, Key Pittman. He was, we'll talk about him a little bit later. I've got more information on him. There was also a guy named Henry Calvin Cal Broger. And there was the director of the Mizpah. This dude was the director of the Mizpah Hotel Corporation of Tonapah. And I think I already mentioned, Cal Broger. He was one of the big wigs that made all of this happen, made Tonapah a thing.
Okay.
And just as it was intended, the Mizpah Hotel was the center of social and economic activities in Tonapah during the boom days of silver mining.
So they had a lot of boxing back then, bare knuckle boxing.
Bare knuckle boxing.
So Jack Dempsey, I heard, got to start there, not at the Mizpah per se, but in Tonapah.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. That's kind of was a big thing for boxing, was out there in Nevada still, I guess, when you had all the
bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I would like to go see some bare knuckle boxing back in the day, because I think back then they just kind of kept fighting till somebody stopped.
Probably. Kind of like Fight Club. You just go until someone's
until somebody's not throwing fists no more.
Right. So, according to legend, some of the other famous people that stayed there were Wyatt Earp, who they say kept the saloon, Jack Dempsey, reportedly a bouncer, and
I could see that.
Someone named Howard Hughes married
Howard Hughes. He's the what's it called, the airplane. He's rich as shit.
I would have that was rich enough for him to mention.
What's it called? I'll look it up. I know.
Look it up, because I have no idea who. Well, actually, if you click on the link in my notes, it should pull him up.
Oh, damn it. Well, I'm out of there now.
Oh, well. He married someone named Jean Peters there at the Mizpah. This is legend. Now, people have done the math and it doesn't quite line up. Wyatt Earp left Tonapah before the Mizpah was ever built.
Okay, Howard Hughes was an American aerospace engineer.
Oh, okay.
I think they did a movie with him with Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't.
Would it be like The Aviator?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I've never heard of the guy.
Known at the time as one of the most powerful men in the state of Nevada, he was largely credited with transforming Vegas into a more refined cosmopolitan city. Yeah,
Howard Hughes, he was important.
Yeah.
So
aviator, motion picture producer, director. Okay, he's done a lot.
This dude was important.
Yeah.
According to people.
I knew something he did.
So they're saying Wyatt Earp, he did stay in Tonapah for a little bit, but he left before the Mizpah was ever built. So there's no record of him actually being at there or keeping the saloon. Howard Hughes was married in Tonapah, but not at the Mizpah. And Jack Dempsey said that he was never a bouncer there at the hotel.
Okay.
Nevertheless, the hotel still has the Jack Dempsey room and the Wyatt Earp bar, even though there's no actual evidence of these people being involved in the Mizpah.
They were around town.
They were around. They were definitely in Tonapah at one point in time, and Jack Dempsey was a bare knuckle boxer there in Tonapah. He might have been a bouncer somewhere else, but according to him, he was never a bouncer.
I know they have a piano there with a signed picture of Liberace on a piano.
Oh, do they really?
But I don't know if he actually played that piano or he just visited, came through, and somebody got an autograph. There's no background to it. There's just a picture of Liberace signed on the piano that's sitting in there.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to go and figure this out. But like I said, it's only 6.5 hours away, so we can easily do an overnight weekend there.
Yeah, we probably should.
We'll have to get separate rooms, though.
Yeah, you don't like my snores?
No, I want to have 2 rooms to investigate.
Oh.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's actually a good idea.
We'll get the 5th floor and the 3rd floor, and we'll talk about that why in just a little bit.
All right.
The Mizpah in 1940s is when they started the gambling there, turned into a casino. About 1945 is when the first chips were issued, and the casino included a roulette wheel, craps table, blackjack, and about 80 slot machines.
And I think they still have that wheel there too.
I think they do as well.
And it's a big spinning wheel. Yeah, roulette's not what it used to be.
I don't think they still use it, but I think it's still there.
No, they got little small table-sized wheels now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They've come a long way.
They have computers.
Yeah, come a long way.
Tell you what the numbers are that it landed on. It's amazing. So the Mizpah, it is. We are in the future. So it changed hands several times throughout the years until Frank Scott of Las Vegas. He's the guy that also built the Union Plaza Hotel. He bought the Mizpah in 1979. He started updating the hotel with modern conveniences. It was acting as a bridge to the modern day while trying to preserve the antiquated romance that had first drawn him to the hotel. In all, the work took him about 2.5 years and cost him about $4 million.
Damn.
So he owned and operated this for about 20 years before they finally shut the doors in 1999, just because there wasn't...
Nobody goes to Tonapah.
Nobody goes to Tonapah.
It's kind of out of the way.
It is. So it is about the halfway point. If you're like our friend Paul Welch going to Vegas, Tonapah is like your halfway point, your stopping point. But yeah, there's not much to Tonapah other than, from what I've seen, is the haunted places to go visit.
Yeah, it's like driving through Elko, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Go to the commercial.
So in the early 2011, the hotel was purchased by a couple named Fred and Nancy Klein of Klein Cellars, Simona, California. They renovated and reopened the building to the public in August of 2011. The newly renovated hotel has 47 rooms, a bar, 2 restaurants, the Pittman Cafe, and the Jack Dempsey Room. And then there's also a full casino and the Mizpah Club on site. So that's what's currently there.
The Mizpah Club.
Yes. So, yeah.
So the ghosts.
The ghosts. Do we want to talk about... I don't think they have ghosts there.
You don't think they have ghosts?
No,
but it's rated the number one haunted hotel in America.
According to USA Today in 2018.
The number one haunted hotel in America.
Yeah, I don't think USA Today has been around to a lot of haunted hotels. Because I don't know if this is the number one, being that there wasn't a lot of... I mean, I'm sure there's activity all the time, but I don't know. Every hotel is the most haunted hotel when you're there. Whatever hotel you're currently at is going to be the most haunted hotel that you're currently at.
Whatever hotel you're experiencing activity at is going to be the most haunted hotel you're currently at.
Yep, exactly. So, what we do know, it's haunted by EVP standards, 1907. Well, it is over 100 years old, so...
It's got to be haunted.
It is definitely haunted.
So, yeah.
So, let's talk about some of the ghosts there. What do we got first?
The Lady in Red.
Lady in Red?
So, she is said to be a lady of the night.
Oh.
Hotel guests who have experienced her presence have seen her as being dressed in red, so that's why they gave her the name Lady in Red. And she is a ghost of a prostitute who was murdered on the 5th floor of the hotel by a jealous ex-boyfriend. He strangled her in the penthouse, so they say. Another widely accepted description of the events is that the Lady in Red had been caught cheating by her husband at the hotel after he had missed a train, who then proceeded to kill her in a jealous rage by stabbing her to death in the hallway.
Dun, dun, dun. She was murdered in 2 places by 2 different people at the same time.
So now the room that she was said to have been killed in has been split into 3.
So keep in mind, this was a penthouse that she had.
So a huge room, probably like a huge section of the floor. So
big enough that they split it into 3 rooms.
Right. So now there's a 502, 503, 504. And where ghosts sometimes report seeing her apparition.
Ghosts don't report it. I would love it if ghosts reported seeing her apparition. Because if a ghost came to me and they're like, hey, I saw a ghost.
Hey, guys, there's other ghosts in here besides me. This is not cool.
I thought I was the only ghost, but there's another one here. If you could take care of that, I would appreciate that.
Who's taking care of it? HR is? Okay.
Guests have reported seeing
ghosts.
Okay, ghosts. Got it. Ghosts have seen her.
Guests sometimes report seeing her apparition and hearing her whispers in their ears. Her telltale red figure has also been seen out in the hall, where she is known to disappear into the walls because there wouldn't be a hall there, just be part of her penthouse.
Right.
Others report of activity pinned on the Lady in Red include objects and luggage in the 5th floor rooms being moved around by unseen forces. Lone pearls appearing in strange places. It's pearls, huh? That's her thing?
Yeah. She likes the pearl necklace.
Sounds like it. Guests on the 5th floor have claimed to find these pearls left in their pillows or nightstands when they wake up, as well as being found in odd places on other floors. Employees and Mizpah regulars consider the pearls a calling card for the Lady in Red, indicating where she has recently been.
So some of this next information is interviews that were done on Ghost Adventures from former employees. So one former
I remember
employee,
hearing about the pearl thing.
this is just what I found.
Yeah.
So one of the former employees were talking to Ghost Adventures, and she said that the lady in red will also light up the Kino machine. Now, this Kino machine is unplugged, not in use. It's down in the basement. But they have seen it light up numbers. So supposedly the lady in red, and one website was naming her Rose for whatever reason. I don't know where they came up with that name. It was the only.
Red.
It was the
Red.
only. Probably. She's in red, so her name is Rose. Only website I saw that was calling her Rose. Everybody else was calling her Lady in Red, including employees that they interviewed. Apparently her favorite game was Keno. So it said that she lights up the different numbers on the Keno machine as if
she wins.
Yeah. She's
Cheater.
cheating.
She's cheating in life. She's cheating in death.
Exactly. On her husband and Keno. Like, we don't know. But yeah, apparently she'll light up the numbers as if she's trying to play Keno. And one of the other employees, I believe it was the caretaker that was giving Zach a tour of the Mizpah there, said he was on the 5th floor outside of where the penthouse used to be. And he was telling the story of the lady in red to somebody else. And as he was telling the story, this stain just appeared on the carpet.
Huh.
And he has no idea where the stain came, or like what it is, why it's there. But he thinks that stain, that's supposedly where she was stabbed to death. So the story he told Zach was about the husband that had missed the train and came back and started cheating and stabbed her to death in the hallway. And yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is they do show the stain on Ghost Adventures, and honestly, like, sure, maybe it did actually appear in front of this guy, and maybe it's just always been there, and it's a fun story to tell because you don't know how to get rid of the stain.
Or just never noticed it until somebody pointed it out while you're telling the story.
So that's the lady in red. There's also children spirits that have been said to have been seen or heard there on the 3rd floor.
On the 3rd floor?
Yeah, they haunt the 3rd floor. They have been heard giggling, and people have reported hearing their doors open and shut on their own. The children apparently also play pranks on the guests. They say that the elevator doors will randomly open and close on their own, and occasionally the buttons will start being pressed by unseen forces. Now, they don't know what spirit is actually messing with the elevator, but they believe because it is on the 3rd floor, it's most likely the children's spirits. They don't know for sure, from what I understand, but they're just pinning it. They're like, those darn kids.
Strange that why there would be kid spirits there.
Why are the kid spirits anywhere?
Well, I just mean that place in particular. There's
I don't know.
Reports of children dying suddenly there?
That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I mean, like, let's say you were visiting with your family, you stayed at the Mizpah, and then later in life you died, but you remember having fun at the Mizpah, so you're going to haunt there. Or like, I've had investigations before. I've been at people's houses, and they had a little, here in Utah, they had a child from Alabama in their house. And when Brandy had asked the spirit, like, why is he here? You're kind of far away from home. And he's like, well, I was walking one day and I saw this doorway, more or less. Essentially, he saw a portal and he walked through it, and it like closed behind him. And now all of a sudden he's just stuck here in Utah. And I think he found the
portals.
Portals. Yes. So I guess he just, like, in the spirit's adventures, he came across the homeowner, one of the people that lived in the house. And I've seen this with the other investigators where they're just out shopping and a spirit sees them, thinks they look cool, and they follow them home. So it is entirely possible. Maybe the spirit thought the kid got lost and they followed somebody to the hotel thinking that they reminded them of their parents or something. And then they're just like, hey, this place is cool. I'm just going to hang out here.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's
attachments that fall off.
That is just one theory.
Yeah,
like,
they could have followed. Yeah,
they could have followed just a random guest there. They could have. Yeah. They could have lived in Tonapah and died there, and they just.
Yeah.
There's so many different reasons as to why a child spirit could possibly be there, but I don't know for sure.
Yes.
Unless I go there and ask them.
Thanks for answering that question.
So, who else do we have?
We have the miners.
Miners, like Children?
Like 49ers.
Oh, 49ers. Okay.
Miners. So one of the miners was having financial troubles.
Trouble.
And it was time to make payroll. Their backers shipped in cash to cover the cost of the payroll. The courier showed up and checked the money into the vault for the night. He came down the next morning to get the money and found that the vault and all the money was gone. Despite the walls and ceiling being made solid concrete, the floor was still dirt, which allowed the miners to dig up from the mine shafts under the hotel. I remember hearing about this.
Yeah.
When the authorities went down the hole to see where it led, they came across the bodies of 2 miners and no money. It is said that there were 3 miners involved in the robbery, and one of them turned on the other 2 and shot them and took all the money.
That jerk.
It's reported that they are often heard shuffling around, knocking, or loudly coughing in the basement. People have said the miners have given them cold chills and strange sensations. They are also said to trip people for fun whenever they are able to do so.
Those jerks.
Yeah, those little goofy damn miners.
So what I thought about was interesting in the basement. I know we talk about Ghost Adventures a lot on the show because a lot of these places, they're the only ones that have been there.
Or the first ones.
So the only episode or only TV show that I saw that it actually went there, other than, like, you go on YouTube and find of just random investigators, like YouTube channels being there. And you watched a bunch of those and said no one really had any evidence.
Yeah, I watched some of those, and yeah, it was just a lot of people talking about being scared.
So while they were there, Aaron was in the basement. And what I thought was interesting, because we talk about the doors, the elevator doors opening and closing on their own. This happened to Aaron. He's standing there talking, and the door just opens to the elevator. And this is like, they're locked down late at night. There's only the 3 of them in there. And realistically, it's not like someone on a different floor. It could have been like Zach or Nick hitting a button to cause the elevator open because they're on different floors. And then you can see that Aaron didn't push the button to call the elevator to open, because if it's already on the bottom floor, unless it was up, they claimed that the elevator was not in operation at the time.
I remember that. And then he's
just standing there and the door opens on his own. So he goes in and the door shuts. So this part I thought was really interesting because Aaron's filming himself. You can see him in the mirror holding the video camera in one hand and a digital audio recorder in the other hand. And he's asking the spirits if they could open the door and let him out. And you watch the door open up behind him.
Yeah.
You can see it's not Aaron pushing the buttons because you literally see him. He's filming himself in a mirror. So I thought that was really cool. That
was a cool episode. I need to go back and rewatch that one.
They did have some local investigators that shared an EVP that they got in the basement. The guy thought he heard a voice, and he thought it was one of his fellow investigators. And in the video, it shows this dude. He's as big as I am, if not bigger than I am. And in the video, you see him running off of camera because he turned to talk to whoever he thought was standing next to him and realized there was nobody there. So he booked it out of there.
Yeah.
They did get some EVPs upstairs. They thought it was a lady in red. Zach, what I thought the most interesting part, before we get into Key Pittman, one of the things I thought was really interesting is Zach actually got 2 2x4s.
I gotta pee so bad.
What?
I gotta pee so bad.
Okay.
Finish that story.
Okay. So that's cool. That's totally going in the episode. Just go. Okay. So Zach got 2 boards. And for those of you watching on YouTube and Spotify, he set the boards kind of up like this, he leaned them, the tips of the boards together, and he walked through, and he was trying to make sure that no vibrations or anything could knock the boards over, and that it wasn't just gravity sliding the boards together, causing them to fall over. So what he did is he actually jumped up and down on the floor. He jumped over them. He was stomping as hard as he could, trying to knock these 2 boards over, and they were not falling over. And so he did this the first time, and he kind of had his back to him, and he was asking, the spirits if they can knock over the 2 boards, and you hear a noise behind him, and then he turns around, the boards are knocked over. So then he sets the boards up again and does the same thing like you see in the episode. He's jumping up and down. He's stomping near the boards. He's trying to make them fall over to show that it's not, that they're set up pretty good and that there's no way to and the slightest vibration is not going to knock him over, right? So he's jumping up and down. He's causing all sorts of chaos around it. Like he's jumping over them, landing on the floor hard, trying to get these boards to fall over. And so, showing that they're set up pretty good, that they're not just going to randomly fall over, he walks back down the hall. And then this time in the episode, you actually watch the boards. The first time, I guess they fell towards him. The second time they fall away from him. But in the second time, you can actually see in his video the boards falling over on their own.
Right.
Which I thought was
he had done all that stuff to make him fall over and nothing.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really cool that he actually did that in this episode, trying to show that they were set up and they were sturdy.
Yeah.
So they weren't just the slightest vibration or breeze or whatever would knock him over. The fact that he's like jumping up and down, stomping on the floor next to him, and they're standing still, standing sturdy. And then they just fall on their own. I'm like, that's really cool. And the fact that he was able to get that on video, that was awesome.
It was before they got it renovated by the new owners, right?
Quite possibly, because I think it was during renovations.
Yeah, because that's why they had so much of that stuff sitting out. Yeah.
So then we get into this Key Pittman. He didn't really haunt the hotel as far as I know, but there is kind of a little mystery as to what happened to Key Pittman here. Now, he represented the state of Nevada from 1913 to 1940. He was an influential member of the Democratic Party and one of FDR's leading campaign advisors in 1932. Now, on March 9th of 1933, Pittman became the chairman of the powerful Foreign Relations Committee and president pro tempore, which is the second highest ranking official in the United States Senate. His influence in Washington benefited Nevada greatly, with his state leading the country per capita federal spending on New Deal's projects.
So he represented Nevada. Pittman was originally from Vicksburg, Mississippi. Seeing the potential in the gold and silver mines out west, he moved to Tonapah in 1902. Pittman and his wife, Mimosa, they lived in Mizpah Hotel when they first arrived, and by 1908, the couple had built their own home on Prospect Street across from the Tonapah courthouse. Thus, it would make sense that on the eve of the 1940 election, Key Pittman and his supporters were holed up in the Mizpah Hotel, preparing for the next day's festivities when Pittman would hopefully be re-elected. As the story goes, Pittman tragically suffered a sudden heart attack and died that evening. In an effort to ensure that Pittman's seat remained Democratic, his supporters kept his body on ice in one of Mizpah Hotel's bathtubs, formally announcing his death 5 days later on November 10th, 1940. Holy shit.
Yeah. The story quickly made the rounds, gaining further credibility when it was repeated in the sensational national bestseller, The Green Felt Jungle, which came about in 1963. However, this spooky story is nothing more than a folktale, likely resulting from an odd statement made by one of Pittman's handlers. Now, according to journalists Barbara and Myrick Land in A Short History of Reno, 1995, one political reporter, it was rumored later, asked one of Pittman's handlers why the senator was making no campaign appearance in this important final week. And the handler replied with, "We're keeping him on ice."
But the team may not have hidden the senator on ice. They did deceive the public into electing a dying man. According to an interview with Pittman's personal physician, Dr. A.J. Bart Hood, the senator did suffer a heart attack on November 4th, but did not die that night. Dr. Hood told Pittman's political lieutenants that there was nothing he could do to save Pittman. Quietly, the senator's associates moved him into the Washoe General Hospital. A coronary disease specialist who was flown to Reno from San Francisco concluded once Pittman regained consciousness that death was imminent. On November 10th, 1940, United States Senator Key Pittman passed away. His supporters' plan worked, and the governor, Edward Carville, appointed Democratic Berkeley Bunker to take the late senator's seat.
Now, despite
tricky move.
Despite many attempts to dismiss the story as mere legend, many still believe that there was some truth to the tale. Now, if you watch the Ghost Adventures episode, the caretaker guy had actually talked about Key Pittman's death, and his claim was that the mafia was involved in this whole thing because the mafia wanted Key Pittman in office, right, in the Senate. But
so this is probably their idea to keep it hush hush until the election was over.
So yeah, he was saying that the mafia wanted key pitmen in there. They wanted someone. They wanted
benefited them.
They wanted their guy.
It's good for the mob.
But so I guess the law was written at the time. If someone died before the election, then the party would get to pick the candidate that would take his place in the election, right? But if they died after, the governor got to choose who got to take the place of the deceased, right? Mm-hmm. So what his claim was is the mafia didn't have the party of the Democratic Party in Nevada was no longer in their pocket, basically. So, but they did have the governor.
Uh-huh.
So his claim is that the mafia had these people put him on ice and didn't reveal his death until after he won the election, so they can get the governor to put in who they wanted in.
Uh-huh.
It's very, very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
It was funny when
Nevada was big stuff back then.
It probably still is.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. It's just Vegas. That's really it.
Vegas and Reno. There's not a whole lot. Like, honestly, like if you look at, I've read this in one of the articles too. Like if you look at Nevada, there's not a whole lot in Nevada.
No, it's just Vegas. You got Vegas, pockets of Elko, Reno.
Yeah.
Tonapah.
You got these little tiny towns, but it's
Winnemucca.
It's mostly Reno, but largely it's Vegas is Nevada, and that's about it.
Yeah. Carson City? I don't know.
Carson City.
I've never been.
Yeah. Well, the Carson City, I guess, being the state capital. So
yeah, I guess that was probably big news.
That's probably big. Yeah. So I want to go to there.
Yeah, there's a lot of these little towns like this that we do need to go to. We do need to go spend some ghosty time.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
I looked it up.
I saw that.
And I picked a couple different dates to find like prices. And depending on the room that you pick and the package you pick, and by package I mean like you can spend just the night there, or you can buy like the bed and breakfast where you can get breakfast in the morning. Okay. Or then there's like where you can get like a credit. I think it might include the bed and breakfast, and then there's a credit to one of the restaurants. Depending on which room you're in and which package you pick, you're looking anywhere from like $155 to close to $300 per night. And one of the rooms that you can pick is the Lady in Red room. It is specifically labeled that when you go to check in on their website. They have like the junior suite, and they have like the wagon room. They have some themed rooms, but I personally would probably not spend the extra money to stay in the Lady in Red. That's why I want to do two rooms. Like we get the Lady in Red room, and then we can get like one of the other rooms, and we have two rooms to investigate, including
the hallways. So they do offer tours and investigations. The first one they call the Ghosted Package. It can be booked with the room reservation. This package includes a guided ghost tour, EMF reader, dowsing rods, and more. They offer this tour from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for groups of up to 10 people. The next tour they have is a private ghost tour. They recommend booking this tour separately from your room reservation if you'd like to guarantee that your group is the only one on the tour. It includes everything that comes in the Ghosted Package, but you'll be alone with the chaperone. Price on this one, $75 per hour with a $2 minimum, and this is also offered between 6 and 9 p.m. So you can do a 2-hour tour, you can do a 3-hour tour, but it's just a guided tour with stuff that whatever. But the one that we will probably do when we go there, and not if, when, we're going. Okay.
Is the paranormal tour. Now, this is a private investigation. You can choose when to do this. There is no between 6 and 9 p.m. You get to pick the hours. You do have to do a 2-hour minimum, and it is $100 per hour, and you have to bring your own equipment, which is not a problem for us. So you're looking at least $200 to do the private ghost tour.
Per person?
I don't think so. I think it's just per group.
Okay, and up to 10 people?
I think so.
I like it.
Honestly, what I wrote there is straight from their website. So,
okay, cool.
With the tours being up to 10 people, I'm assuming maybe the private one that's $100
Let's call them and bombard them with questions.
Let's do it.
Yes.
I've done that before.
I've done it too.
I have called and bombarded Trans-Allegheny with questions. I actually spoke to someone on the phone. It was cool.
Were they dead?
No.
Okay, they're
They
not
wanted
cool.
to be. They wanted to be after talking to me. So yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be up to 10 people because that's what the guided ghost.
Yeah, that
tours
ain't
are.
too bad. I like it.
$200 an hour.
Yeah.
And you get to pick the time. So if you wanted to go from like midnight to 2 in the morning,
100 an hour, 200 minimum.
yeah, 100. Well, so you're looking at least $200.
Yeah, I
for a
like
ghost
it.
tour. So I definitely want to go to there.
Yeah, me too.
And then, like I said, it is down the street from the Clown Motel, so you could do both. And if you spend a couple nights there, you can do.
Well,
I would honestly.
there's
here's
a
the
few
thing is,
different hotels there that are haunted.
the whole
take a week out of it.
Tonapah is haunted. There's the Castle House. I don't know if you can investigate there. They let the Ghost Adventures crew investigate there. That was actually the Castle House, from what they said, is the first place that Zach, Aaron, and Nick investigated together as a team.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think right down the street there is the Goldfield, which is where...
The Goldfield's probably a couple miles. It's another town.
It's another town? Down the street?
Down the street.
Down the same highway?
Sure.
But yeah, right down there is where... Same area, though, is where they had a brick thrown at them in the basement.
Yeah. You have to drive through Tonapah to get to Goldfield.
Yeah. Yeah. Take the highway.
Yeah.
Well, anything else about old Tonapah or the Mizpah?
Let's see. It's 27 minutes. It's 27.2 miles from Tonapah to Goldfield.
Oh, that's a lot further
So
than
it's
I
not
thought.
just down the street.
I thought it was just like down, like you could throw a rock at it,
Well, you could probably try.
like throw a silver ore at
Tell
it.
you what, we'll go to Tonapah and you start throwing rocks at Goldfield and see
Until
how
I
far
find
you-
silver?
Until you, yeah. I'll bring a cardboard cutout of a donkey
And I'll just keep throwing rocks till I can't get
until
silver.
you find silver.
Let's do it.
I think they might have mined it all already.
Only one way to find out.
I guess.
Well,
You know what you should do though?
huh?
You should go to evp.pod@gmail.com. If you've been to the Mizpah or if you've been to Tonapah, you got any stories you want to share with us, and we'll share it on the episode next
Yeah, we
week.
want to hear your stories.
Yeah, we want to hear your stories. If you've been there, share them with us
Yeah.
so we can share them with other people.
Yeah.
Because people love hearing real life stories, not just ghost adventures. Yes. Email us, at Gmail, evp.pod@gmail.com. You can also check out our social media videos that DVO posts at evp.pod, Instagram and Facebook. Then you can also check out our affiliate link to ghoststop.com, buy some ghost hunting gear, and then, hey, while you're doing that, email us and say, hey, I want to go ghost hunting with you guys, and you can come to one of our potlucks.
Yeah, or other
Or
secret
other
investigations.
secret investigations that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
Do that. All of that stuff. Do the stuff.
All right, guys, ghosts, you don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies. Oh, hey, you know what? Before we go,
Yeah.
we keep forgetting to mention this. I know that we've said peace out, butterflies, but we're still rolling. We have been emailed twice now.
Uh-oh. What happened?
We are on a list
Oh, yeah, we are.
of the most. I think the list is. I can't remember the website. I'd have to look it up. But of the top 80 most inappropriate podcasts out there right now of 2024.
We haven't
Originally,
mentioned this yet? I thought we mentioned this.
no, we did post it on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
But we didn't actually talk about it on the show. So we have been listed the first time in April. We were listed number 17, which was like 2 behind the Howie Mandel show. This month, and granted, we did take about a month off because of reasons, and we did drop. We're down to number 20.
Oh, shit.
I know. So hopefully now that we're back and we're rolling again.
I just cussed, so that just should help
I
out.
dropped the F-bomb at the beginning
Hell
of the
yeah,
show.
good.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
again.
hell yeah. We're number 20 on the top 80 most inappropriate podcast in 2024. So that means something.
We didn't make the paranormal list. This is some bullshit.
Yeah, we didn't make the paranormal list, but we're on the inappropriate list, so I'll take what we can get.
Either or.
Yeah, so again,
Silver or. Ghosts, you don't play that.
peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.